Hello guys, welcome back to Field Skills. I'm David Fields, your host, and today, I know it's been a while since I've shot a video, but today I want to get back in the swing of things, start shooting a few more videos. But before we begin, I want to give a quick shout out to my loyal fans that have been asking for this in the Middle Tennessee area. You know who you are. Well, here we go. What we're going to do today and start with this series of videos is build a semi-permanent camp out here. Where my camp was, I had to move it down because some oil field work is going to be going through that area. So I scouted out a new location and I'm going to set up a camp today. And in this first video, we're going to build our shelter. We're going to use some very simple tools to do it. We're going to use, from our 5Cs, our cutting tools. I've got my knife, I've got my hatchet, and my Baco Laplander saw to process and collect the resources and materials I'm going to need to build this shelter. Also, the 5th C, I've got my cordage with me to help us lash this shelter together and put it up. And then I'm using 2 6-foot by 8-foot, just regular inexpensive tarps. You can get it Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, any of those establishments. And we're going to make my adaptation of a wheeling tent. That's wheeling, W-H-E-L-E-N, tent. You can see it in a lot of historical writings about camping and outdoors. They used it in the canvas form. Well, we're going to modify it today and make a version of that for you. So stay tuned. Let me adjust the camera and we'll get started with our wheeling adaptation today. Okay, first thing we're going to need is to process some wood, some sticks, some poles to put this shelter together. And as you can see, I've already done that. Growing down here in South Mississippi, sweet gum is everywhere, and they usually grow pretty straight and tall, and they're easy to cut down and to process. So I've cut a lot of different lengths and sizes, as you can see leaned up against this pine tree here, to start putting my shelter together. And first of all, we're going to have to build a frame, and we're going to build a basic A-frame construction and then work from there. So let me change the camera again and we'll start in just a second. Okay, we're going to begin by building us a couple of bipods or crosses, and I'm going to show you real quickly how we're going to lash those together to make them very sturdy and strong this way. But first of all, I'm going to take a little of my cordage here. Make me a quick loop in it to so I can cinch it down there around the first log, and we'll go in here. That didn't work too well. Let's put a little knot so it won't slide out, because once we get it lashed down it'll be tight. Just a simple loop. Tie a knot around it, make it a slip knot in there. And what we're going to do is wrap this thing about 4 or 5 good times. As you can see, going around here. Cinch it up good and tight each time, 4 times. Then we're going to come down the middle right here, go between them, and cinch that down tight. And what that's doing when we're frapping this in the middle is it's tightening these loops around the outside to make them very firm and solid right there to lash this thing together. So pull it up tight. Go one more time. I think I got enough cordage here to do that. So we've got it good and tight here. Come back through some way to, right there we go. Alright, we pulled that good and tight. We're just going to make some half hitches in this. Kind of lock that in place. And now, as you can see, we can spread that, and those are locked in place, and that's going to be the first of the two we're going to need to create this A-frame. So let me do the other one real quick, and then we'll start setting this shelter up. Okay, I got my bipods complete, one on each side, but what I did find, I found this tree here and a limb that I was able to just lodge this pole, my ridge pole for the shelter, in here, and I'm going to be able to lash it off to this and give it stability for moving left and right. So I haven't tied and secured this bipod into place yet, but I have this one, as you'll see over here. I've got it lashed together here, and then my ridge pole lashed to it. And you can see that's very sturdy, and when I tie it off over here onto the tree and the second bipod, it's going to really make a sturdy frame for this structure. And what I'm going to have to do with this, once I get my tarp laid out in place, I'll move it over and measure it and get it where they're matched up, and you'll see that in just a second. But I will adjust this in to the point to get my tarp. So my next step is we're going to put the first of the two tarps on the shelter. Okay. Alright, we're going to start putting the tarp on now, but I wanted to show you something that I made. And these are little toggles, and you can see it's just a simple loop with a small stick that I have notched out right in on each side there so it won't slide up and down. And I'm going to make this to connect through the grommet holes and around my ridge pole on the ridge there of the shelter. So just wanted to show you that, but just a simple little toggle makes putting your tarp up or whatever you've got, if you've got straps or grommets, makes it real easy to attach to it. So let's begin. Get our tarp laid out. And what we're going to do, we're going to use the 8-foot section width-wise, and then the depth is going to be on the 6-foot section when we put this together. So let's get our first end in. Get on this side where it's a little easier. Over here where you can see what I'm doing. Push our little toggle around, and we're hooked in right there. Then I'm going to step down here to the other side using the 8-foot section. Put my toggle and string through here. Come around my ridge pole. Now, I've got my tarp attached here and pulled reasonably tight at the top, so I've got 2 more grommets. I'm going to use toggles again and just attach this all the way around. And as you can see, put the grommet in, twist it, and that locks it in. Real simple. You can sit there in your easy chair at night and create you some little toggles. They come in real handy for so many situations out in the woods. Anyway, one last one. Run it in one side, twist it around. Now we have our tarp attached to the ridge pole. And so what we're going to do next is I'm going to stake it out down at the on the back side, and I brought, you can make your stakes in the woods, but it's a whole lot easier sometimes just to throw your own, these little light aluminum type stakes. And I'm going to stake that down, and when I get it done, we'll turn the camera back on and talk about where we're at and where we're going next. So give me just a second, and I'll be right. Okay, let's talk about where we're at right now. Alright, I've done my 2 A-frames here with my ridge pole across, attached to the tree over here, but I have moved, as you can see, my poles in close to the edge of my tarp. Got my tarp attached to the ridge pole here, and then staked down through the 4 grommet holes at the back to give it good tension and strength. Now we're going to tension that up some more in just a minute, and I'm going to show you how we do that. And then we're going to make the wheeling portion of it, or the canopy that comes out, and how we hinge that, if you will, to be able to close it up, raise it up, and I'll show you that in a minute. But doesn't take too long if you've got the resources, the materials, some cordage, some cutting tools, and a couple inexpensive tarps. You can create a shelter very quickly, longer term. Now we all know an emergency shelter and use a piece of rope or cordage as the ridge line we can put up in just a couple minutes. But to make a little long-term or more long-term shelter like this, using wood and all will make it more stable, more sturdy for the weather. So let me move this around, and we'll show you what we're going to do to even tighten this up more. Just a second. Okay, what I want to do to tighten this up and to give me another tie-out place, because I can tie to here, is I've cut me another pole. Better get that out of my way before I hurt myself. Another pole, and all I want to do is run it and it gives it. What this does is keep this tarp, if it snows or a lot of water, from sagging any. It's going to give it some a secondary ridge here to hold this tarp up out of the way. So what I've done is cut the pole long enough to reach across, and I'm going to lash it together, and that'll give me some more stability in this shelter. Plus I can take toggles that we talked about, I've got right here, and I can make places to hang pots, pans, use it for to hang, dry my clothes out. If they get wet, they can hang over here. So let me lash this together, and we've got this, the back half of the shelter, complete, and we'll move on to the hinged canopy in just a minute. Okay, let's lash this secondary ridge pole we talked about here. And I'm using as my cordage today, number 36 or 18, I forget, 18 bank line. And with that tar on that bank line, it really cinches up and holds itself together real well. So, as you can see, I've got that just above the grommet, and I'm going to just make a simple lash around here and come over and around, over and around, over and around, and then I'm going to come in through the back side here and just do some half hitches to tighten this thing up. In a way, kind of frapping these things to pull these parts around up good and tight where it'll hold and stay there. Take about 2 or 3. I got a little tag. Cut it off. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. And then attach it here with probably just some, maybe one of the toggles or just some bank line tied off over here to pull this and keep it tied this way. Alright, let me show you what I did. I'm creating the hinge, and right here you see I ran another ridge type pole or crossing pole, and this is where we're going to secure our hinge, and our ridge pole is going to become the hinge of our canopy. So we will attach tarp number 2 here, and I'll move the camera around to the other side and you can see, but we're going to attach the tarp just like here will be attached to this pole and then come over. So okay, as you can see, I have attached the hinge portion of the canopy to this cross member or ridge pole, if you will, here. So and got the rest of the canvas just flipping over the front of the shelter. So I'm going to move the camera around and show you where we go from here in making the hinged canopy. Just a second. Okay, what I've done here is put, I guess you'd call this the eave of the canopy pole, but I have attached it across, and I made the pole long enough where it extended past my A-frames uprights there to hold it right there, and I've used my toggles again just to hold this and attach it to the to this eave pole, I guess you would say. So that will hold that down just with weight. But where the hinged canopy comes in is that I'm going to attach poles here and a pole over here to be able to stand this up or lay it down if you want to close the shelter off at night. And we'll show you that in just a minute. And about to wrap this the basic construction of this shelter up. Okay, the modified wheeling shelter basic construction is complete. Just to remind us, we have used 2 6-foot by 8-foot inexpensive nylon tarps, or not nylon, whatever this material is, you can buy them anywhere. And we made this shelter 8 foot wide and used the 6-foot section of the tarps, using 2 of them to make a basic lean-to from here back, and then using this as my wheeling hinged canopy on this tent. We used this pole here as the eave to the canopy, and I have lashed my post to make the front of the canopy, so when we want to raise this up, raise the front of the canopy up, and as you can see, it gives you good room in here. I'm at the front here. I can go all the way back here for room. Could come in here, put your bed, sleep back here, and you've got the front to work, to sit, to enjoy. And then when night comes, you can close this down. Let me get out where you can see me and hear me. But we can close it down to whatever height we want, all the way to the bottom or partially. And you've got a basic pup tent design if you want it through that, with a lot of room. And let me grab this camera and just show you the room that we've got there. Hold on. Okay. Let's go in here and look at the room. Let me back it up here some. A lot of room in there with the canopy down. We've got good cover for whatever weather conditions may present themselves. And then we can raise it up and have plenty of workspace and coverage in the front. Raising it up is really just about this simple. Boom. And there it is, raised and ready to set up camp. I can see I need to tighten up my front of my awning a little bit, and we can do that. Get a little more tension across the front where it won't swag like that. But let me do that, and then I'm going to go around and show you each component, what we did, why we did it, and then we'll wrap this video up. Well, that is the Field Skills modified wheeling canopy tent. Long name for it. I don't know what we'll call it. But again, what we used, 2 6-foot by 8-foot inexpensive tarps, cordage, and our cutting tools, and created a very stable, sturdy, longer term shelter for when you're in the woods. Maybe at your what I will use this for is for cooking and resting up when I've been out squirrel hunting or deer hunting on my land here in South Mississippi. But just to quickly rehash, what we began with was built 2 cross braces, bipods if you will, instead of a tripod, and attached this, created our shelter here. Basic lean-to design, and we put the lean-to, the first tarp on the back as a lean-to. Then we overlapped it so we would have coverage, water would run off the back. We put tarp number 2 on the front, and I think this is called cantilevered, where we can lean it out like this, but when we want to, lower these poles. And it's closed in, closed down to a, oh my, I wonder what that was, my chair was in the way. It closes down into a pup tent type design if you need the coverage at night for sleeping. One of the things you can do too then is create you some toggles for each corner. When you lay it down at night, you can toggle it over if you want this locked down so the wind doesn't cause it to flap. Create you some toggles to work here, attach it, and it's locked down at night. When you get ready in the morning, you want to open it up, undo your toggles, walk outside and just grab the front of it and lean it up like that, and you're open and ready for business with the Field Skills hinged canopy shelter. Next time, what we're going to do in this series on our camp, we're going to be continuously modifying, updating, upgrading our campsite here. And what I want to do next time is to create my camp kitchen and my heating source. We're going to build our fire pit, our fireplace here in front, and we'll go through the steps of creating our cooking devices and get ready and maybe even start a fire and cook something next week. But our next video will be building our camp kitchen, and we'll go through the steps of doing that. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've learned something, or if nothing else, it just sparked some interest. Hey, I liked that idea. I think I can modify it and make it even better. I would love to hear from that. Send us your comments on what you think. It's really easy, and it's just a lot of fun to get out in the woods and play like you did when you were a kid through that. So join us. I want to end my video like I do all my videos with the quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson. Emerson said, "Life is not a destination, life is a journey." So journey with us to self-reliance in the great outdoors. I'm David Fields with Field Skills, and we'll see you next time.